Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Crypto. My name's Don. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching today's video. There is some hot news in crypto, as you will have seen from today's title and thumbnail. Binance has had a bit of an issue. Well, CZ, the CEO, and I guess the guy behind Binance, has run into some trouble. Now, this is an ongoing, or has been an ongoing issue for multiple years now, and finally there has been a guilty plea and resolution almost to this. So yeah, stick around for that news plus more on today's episode of Coffee and Crypto. First things first, let's jump into the prices and see exactly what's going on with the market, as we have seen slightly some pullbacks over the past 24 hours based on, well, what we can say is the Binance news. So Bitcoin's currently, don't know why I said currently twice, but Bitcoin's currently trading at $36,650. We then have Ethereum holding strong at $2,008. We then have BNB at $236. XRP just below 60 cents, currently sitting at 59.5 cents. We then have Solana at $54. Cardano, 37 cents. Dogecoin at 0.07. And then finally Tron at 0.09. So most of the top 10 down, 3-4% on average. And then Bitcoin is down almost 2%, but still technically up just about 2.5% on the week. So not all bad. Things are still moving and we are doing surprisingly better than I thought we would have. Let's just actually look at BNB for a second. So BNB is down 8.9%. I think it dropped a little bit more than that overnight. But yeah, as you can see here on the daily, BNB was yesterday trading at $270. It's now down at $236. So yeah, bit of a rocky road ahead for BNB. However, many people do believe that it was what we call priced in because, well, I'll get to the news in a sec, but quite big news for Binance and BNB's token and CZ and whatnot, and apparently there's been billions of dollars withdrawn from Binance, etc. I don't really know why people do that, but anyway, BNB is surprisingly holding up as much as, yes, it is down 10% on the day. It's surprisingly holding up. I'll get into that plus more throughout today's episode. One thing I wanted to show you first was just the main page of Cointelegraph at the moment, because as you can imagine, it's all about CZ. So there's CZ, there's a second part about CZ. What else have we got? We've got ETF news, again, as always. We've got Binance news, CZ news. So yeah, it's Binance news. It's a hot topic. There's more Binance news. There's more Binance news. So yeah, as you can imagine, it is a hot topic at the moment, and for good reason. But before I get into that, let me cover off a few other bits of information that's happening in crypto at the moment. So this is similar to a story I covered last week where bankrupt crypto lender Genesis are suing Gemini to recover $689 million of preferential transfers. So this was happening to Binance recently as well. So the bankrupt crypto lender Genesis Global, or Global Capital as its full Sunday name, has filed a lawsuit against crypto exchange Gemini to recover $689 million in preferential transfers, according to a recent court filing. Now, the lawsuit alleges that during the 90-day period before Genesis filed for bankruptcy back in January of this year, Gemini withdrew an aggregate gross of, can't say these words properly, I need to slow it down, gross amount of no less than approximately $689,302,000. Did I say that right? It's a lot of money. Anyway, at the expense of other creditors, and continues to benefit through retaining the property Genesis seeks to recover. Now, Genesis's counsel requested the court to use the remedies provided by the US Bankruptcy Code to correct the unfairness and return defendants to the same position as plaintiffs' other similarly situated creditors. So, pretty standard court proceedings, to be fair. Just happens to be for a large sum of money. Now, the two crypto giants have been embroiled That's a very Deck word. If anyone watches a lot of the videos, which you should do, you know that Deck loves his English literature and words. That's very much a Deck word right there. In a public feud over the recovery of funds that escalated into lawsuits after the collapse of crypto exchange FTX back in November 2022. So yeah, that's why CZ also got a bit of heat, and well, most people did, because it showed a lot of, I wouldn't say fraudsters or fake guys out there, but it did. A lot of these big time players who we thought were pretty solid were quite dirty and doing some dirty things in the background with the money and with FTX. So yeah. So apart from legal remedies, the CEOs of the two companies were also involved in public spats, accusing each other of non-cooperation and threatening legal action. Now, Gemini filed an adversary proceedings against Genesis on October 27th to use multiple shares of its Grayscale Bitcoin trust. The shares were then used as collateral to secure loans made by 232,000 Gemini users to Genesis through Gemini's Earn program. The collateral is currently worth around 1.6 billion. So, yeah, there's some big numbers going about, so I completely understand why there's some lawsuits getting kind of chucked out there. Yeah, it's not looking good, bruv, as I like to say, for big players in crypto. However, I mean, I see a lot of this as just like marking the bottom, marking the where we're going to move forward. I've said it, I usually say it on our crypto courses that we do, but buying, or when you're trying to buy, you want to buy as low as possible. You want to buy fear, never buy greed. You want to sell into the greed and buy into the fear. This is almost one of those moments which is a very catastrophic moment in crypto. Back in November 2022, the FTX scandal did mark, like, I guess, the bottom almost of the the Bitcoin market. And then some people I'm seeing online, and I guess my opinion could help this as well, are saying that this is such a big, catastrophe or a big moment in crypto. Well, not this, but there's this plus loads, which I'm going to go into, is a potential sign of, right, that's us, we're ready to move forward. All the kind of bad stuff is out there, it's taken care of, people have been fined, people are being in lawsuits, whatever it may be. This is actually a positive time in the market, and it's like buy the fear almost. But anyway, don't take any financial advice from me. Not that was financial advice. Remember, always do your own research in crypto. Don't listen to me because I'm just some crazy guy on the internet that runs a few opinions past you. But yeah, all in good faith. But yeah, please don't kind of take any of this as advice on crypto. But anyway, next part of news is about ETFs, so our favourite topic of the channel then. So Grayscale have met with the SEC to discuss a spot Bitcoin ETF detail. So this is big news, of course. It continues to be big news until we get an approval. So executive from the crypto asset manager Grayscale have met with the Securities and Exchange Commission, also known as the SEC, to discuss its flagship Bitcoin trust, which the firm wants to convert to a spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund. Now, on November 20th, the SEC memo disclosed that Grayscale CEO Michael Sonnenshein, I think that's how you pronounce that, and legal chief Craig Salm, the ETF head Dave Laval, and 4 other executives, if you really want to know all of their names there, along with some other guys at law firms, essentially all met with the SEC. Alright, you don't need to know their names, that doesn't matter, but what you need to know is there's big names meeting with the SEC to discuss the ETF. So, the memo said discussions concerned NYSE Arca incorporation, or I don't know if that means incorporation or includes, they haven't worded it great there, but its proposed rule change to list and trade shares of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is the BTC, under NYSE Arca rule. Too many. I talk about this too much. There's too many abbreviations, letters, and names, and whatever it may be. There's just too many of them. So, oh, my camera is moving. Give me one sec. I've got one of these like AI cameras, by the way, so that's why I put my hand up there, because it started to move. And anyway, forget that. For anyone watching the screen and wondering why, I'm not waving at you. I'm just trying to control this camera. Now, Grayscale detailed that it had entered a transfer agency and service agreement with BNY Mellon. We all know who they are, according to a filing shared with the Bloomberg analyst James Seffart. That's a funny surname. Now, the bank will act as an agent for the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is GBTC, facilitating the insurance and redemption of shares and maintaining shareholder accounts. Now, on Twitter just yesterday, this Seffart guy observed the Trading and Markets Division is in charge of approving or denying a form used to inform the SEC of proposed rule change by regulatory organisation. Now, there's times where I read a lot of these articles and I know that you're watching this or listening to this thinking, I don't even care. What does that mean? Look, sometimes I don't care or know what it means because they use stuff like this. Check this. Look, they go denying the 19B-4S, which apparently is a type of form. Why do we need to know that, Cointelegraph? We don't. We really don't, do we? But anyway, nonetheless, I like to give you full transparency of what's going on. Essentially, let me break it down for you, make it a bit easier to understand, because that's what we're all here for. That's why you tune into Coffee and Crypto. You don't want the mumbo jumbo. You don't want the jargon. You want me to tell you how it is. Am I right? So essentially, with the GBTC Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, that is, again, potentially seen to be one of the main ETFs that will be approved, or one of the first ones that will be approved for good reason. They are one of the largest kind of companies that are doing that. They also have a good relationship with the SEC, which it's not about what you know, it's who you know, as we all know that. But yeah, the reason this is big news is because it's still like moving forward. It's not, yes, it's been postponed, don't get me wrong, it's been postponed multiple times and it will get postponed until, Q1 of 2024. However, the fact that things are continuing to move, they are having these meetings, they are proposing ideas, they are filling out these 19B-4 forms, whatever it is, this is all progress. It's not just as simple as, we want an ETF, okay, cool, let's do it. We all know that, but there's a lot of paperwork involved because we are dealing with the regular kind of finance world almost, and we're dealing with the SEC. They love paperwork, they love drama, so it's never going to be as straightforward as we like it to be in crypto. But yeah, nonetheless, we will hopefully see some news coming out very, very soon from the ETF stuff, but I won't bore you with that anymore because I'm going to move on to some Binance and CZ news, which is all the point of today's video, I guess. So, CZ is released apparently on a $175 million bond. Here are his bail terms. Now, take this news with a pinch of salt. This is crypto's mainstream media. As much as I do quite like this Crypto Potato website, we need to take these things with a pinch of salt. It's very raw, it's very fresh, and yeah, let's read through it anyway. So, following guilty pleas, they have entered guilty pleas with the federal court in Seattle. CZ, the founder and former CEO of the largest crypto exchange Binance, has been released from custody on a $175 million personal recognized bond. That's not recognised, is it? Yeah, it is, just because it's got the Z in there. According to a bond document, CZ agreed to return to the US 14 days before his sentencing, which is scheduled for February 23rd, 2024. Now, failure to do so would lead to a warrant issued for his arrest, a fine of $250,000, which is absolutely peanuts for him anyway, and can be sentenced up to 10 years in prison. They're not going very easy on the man, are they? So, CZ and Binance pleaded guilty to violating AML, which is anti-money laundering provisions, as part of a settlement deal with the US Department of Justice, which is the DOJ. While Binance agreed to a $4.3 billion fine, CZ also agreed to step down as the CEO of the exchange and pay a personal fine of $50 million. So, you see a running theme here. We talk about it quite often, and we spoke about it quite often when we had a lot of XRP news. All the governments and all the SEC and whatnot, all they want is to fine you, take money from you, because, well, they are the government, they can do that. Yeah, they don't expect you to pay back the customers or whatever it may be, or the anti-money laundering kind of things that you had done. They just want to charge you a fine. So they just want to try and financially ruin you, essentially, and that's what they're trying to do. But yeah, Binance has a bit of money, CZ has a bit of money, so I'm sure 4.3 billion isn't much of a struggle, and then 50 million isn't much of a struggle. Anyway, the government announced the actions against Binance and its founder at a news conference in Washington, and CZ agreed to be released on a multi-million-dollar bail bond. He agreed to give his attorney information about his residence upon release and his current phone number in case of notices on court hearing dates. Now, per the bail conditions, CZ must refrain from committing federal, state or local crime during the period of release. As such, development could increase his sentence by a maximum of 10 years, and in the case of a misdemeanor, his sentence may increase by a year. It's not looking good, bruv, for Mr. CZ. Now, in addition, the former Binance CEO agreed to not harass or tamper with witnesses or any individual related to the court proceedings in his case. Now, he must desist from taking any controlled substances like medication unless prescribed by a licensed physician and cooperate in the collection of DNA samples in such activities that are authorised. I mean, what are they trying to do here? They are trying to ruin the man, which is very much what they try and do. So they're trying to, well, they have charged him billions and personally millions, but yet they're saying don't take any drugs. I mean, that should be obvious. You shouldn't be taking drugs anyway, but don't take any controlled substances like medication, and you must agree to DNA samples. What are they trying to do? Like, what's that got to do with anti-money laundering? Do you know what I mean? But anyway, that's what the government will do. Now, this next article is very much just a follow-up from what the DOJ has done with Binance. I'll briefly kind of touch over this, but so the exchange giant Binance for $4.3 billion, bringing investigations spanning back to 2018 to a close. So like I said a moment ago, this has been going on for years and years and years. This isn't a new thing. It just so happens to have kind of came to a close now. And then I meant to say in that last one, did you notice that the court date was set for February? Now, what I've been saying this whole year pretty much is Q1, February, March, even into a little bit into Q2, will be super, super important for crypto ahead of the halving. Obviously, there is normally a bit of a halving event where we dump in price slightly, and I almost feel like that may also be a bit of a catapult or a catalyst for the pre-halving dump potentially, or the max fear that will be put out. CZ has been imprisoned and he's been charged and blah blah blah. That could be the moment that we need to wipe out everyone who is not here for the right reasons, and then boom, we start to progress to the upside, because we all know we're in the pre-bull and we are looking forward to the bull run. And yeah, I'm a big believer on, everything happens for a reason, and this does not change my mind. The dates just add up a little bit too funny. But like I said, briefly wanted to touch over that one because I literally just kind of covered over the fact that they are being fined $4.3 billion from the DOJ. Now, the last part I wanted to cover was obviously about BNB. So some news, I did touch on it slightly at the start, but apparently $230 million has been liquidated as BNB dumped 20%. So I said 10%, it was actually 20% or closer to 20%. Now, this enhanced volatility for BNB has harmed over-leveraged investors, with the total value of liquidated positions soaring to well over $200 million on a daily scale. Now, rumours on Monday that Binance was about to reach a settlement deal with the US Department of Justice, although the speculations contained a massive amount of $4 billion. The news actually resulted in the price increases for most crypto assets, especially BNB, which jumped to a 5-month peak of $270. It's almost like a buy the rumour, sell the news. But the deal materialised yesterday, and the DOJ, as I have covered, fined exchange Binance for $4.3 billion. Now, CZ has also stepped down, and then the actual development led to price drops in BNB and the rest of the market. So, well, that again, that's what's been tied to it. But chart-wise, maybe tells a different story. We are in a bit of a kind of upward trajectory for Bitcoin, but we are bouncing in a range which is higher highs and higher lows, which is great, but we are in a range. So, yeah, there will be news tied to it. And well, Bitcoin did perform fairly, like I said at the start of this video, fairly well considering the news. You wonder why that is? Because, well, news doesn't always control the markets, remember. There is charts at the kind of forefront. Anyway, I won't get into that too much, but yeah, it was about 20% down from $275 to about $222. Yeah, not looking ideal. The rest of the crypto market turned red as well, with Bitcoin dumping from 37,500 to around 35,500, and Ethereum losing the $2,000 mark. But as I did cover at the start of today's episode, Ethereum is back up above $2,000. But yeah, that's the quick news on BNB. I know most of you may hold BNB. We did talk about BNB back in 2020. We had it. So it's part of our Discord service, which, by the way, if you're not in it, there's a link below if you, are wanting to go in it, which I know you are, but there's a link below basically that you can get involved. But back in 2020, we used BNB's token as a low kind of a low risk coin that we had picked. I think we gave it out to members at like $25, $30, maybe less than that. And obviously it went on to do some substantial gains. In fact, let me just quickly bring up the BNB chart again and just look at that on a timescale. So we spoke to members, gave out the details. We think that BNB's token would do really, really well, or at least we thought it would be. Again, in our personal opinion, no financial advice, all that good stuff, do your own research. But we gave the news out round about here. I can't remember the exact date, but it was in 2020 after the halving. We said, look, we like BNB's token. We think that it will be a good investment for us personally, and we wanted to let you know. So we let people who followed us and people of Discord, or at that time it was Telegram, but we let our members know we're buying it at $20 odd, $30. So it would have been, if you're looking at the chart here, it would have been in and around this time, August, whenever it was. So it went from about $30 up to its peak in 2021 of $671. I'm sure it went higher than that actually. But yeah, say it was $690 was the all-time high. So yeah, quite a nice call from ourselves. BNB itself is up over, is that 200%? No, sorry, 200,000%? How many numbers are there? I'm seeing too many numbers. I'm pretty sure BNB is up 203,000%. If you're not a crypto guy, welcome to crypto. That happens. A 203,000% gain on your investment. That can happen. Of course, there's no guarantee. You may and probably will lose all of your investment. Please remember that your capital is always at risk when you invest in this silly market. Please do your own research. Don't invest in crypto unless you are, first of all, speaking to a professional. I can offer a service, or I can point you in the right direction. Again, anything you need from myself or anyone on our team, the consultancy side of things, the Discord side of things, there is links below to all of that. There's also links below to what exchanges I use in case you are interested. And yeah, I've dropped some links below. You can check out the exchanges that I use. Doesn't mean that you have to use them, but yeah, just in case, it saves you asking the question. But anyway, like I said, please always take care in crypto. It's a crazy world out there. BNB is up from its its beginnings in 2018. It's up 203,000%, and that's legit. Quite a nice return if you were able to get into BNB in 2018. I'm sure you will agree with. But anyway, that's all for today's episode of Coffee and Crypto. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this. Please drop me a like, drop me a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. It helps the channel grow. It's what I'm about here. It helps me get the word out to more and more people. And please share it with someone. The market is heating back up, so people are interested in crypto again. You're not just that crazy guy that watches me, for example, on crypto YouTube or whatever you want to call it. Many people actually want to get involved in crypto again. So share these videos, share this video, share all of the past, previous and future videos, and of course subscribe, like I said, to the channel. Turn on those post notifications, and I will see you all very, very soon for another